So this summer I went to Europe for a month and I brought 2 cameras with me, a digital camera and a film camera, and I pretty much only picked up the film camera the entire trip. The digital one just sat in my bag and I had to lug it around literally everywhere, the whole 4 pounds of it. So the film camera was definitely my pick for Europe. I really just liked how it allowed me to stay present and in the moment without worrying about what the photos actually looked like. And because of that, I'm really happy with a lot of the photos I ended up getting from the rolls of film I shot. So for my film camera, I just had the Minolta Hi-Matic 7S2, which is this cute little guy, just an awesome rangefinder with a 40mm lens and an f1.7 aperture, and it's pretty much perfect for travel. It weighs like a pound and I absolutely love it. On this month-long trip to Europe, I only shot 3 rolls of gold 200, so like 108 photos in total, and I probably ended up liking like 60 or 70 of them, which is an insane success rate. So today I basically just wanted to show and tell about some of my favorite film photos from Europe, what I like about them, the stories behind them, and everything in between. So let's jump on into it. All right, these aren't really gonna be in any chronological order. I just wanna jump through some of them. So this one I have to start with because we got the Kodak Sign. It's just a classic film shot. I saw this lined up earlier in the day and I had to go back with better light. So I'm like, this is just such a classic shot. This is in Menaggio on Lake Como in Italy. And I really just like the framing of this with these streets, the stop signs, the little shops, the cobblestones, and then the little spots of light coming down. So on this wall here and then in the background. This shot right here is a great reminder to me of the insane dynamic range of film. If you look at it, you can just see the highlight detail in the clouds and also the shadow detail. It's just pretty remarkable how much it's actually able to capture. But speaking of capturing, the shot probably took me about 20 minutes to get because it's in a busy area of Menaggio and there were just people and cars going by in every direction, and I really wanted it to just be empty. And so I think I successfully got it without any people in it, but just out of frame are like people 6 inches in every direction. So it's pretty miraculous I managed to get this off. Since I'm talking about Menaggio, here are a couple other shots from there. This is just looking down at the town from up on a hike. Nothing too special, but just really cool contrast with the red buildings and the blue water. Here's another shot from in town with just such nice pastel warm tones. I really like the hit of light on this hillside here, and then just these flags, and everything about it is just really idealistic, and you can't really take a bad photo in Italy. Here's a photo I took in Trento, Italy after an incredible dinner at a pizza place, but I just liked the neon light in the center here and it said photo, so come on, you gotta do that. There's a couple spots of light around here and then just cool framing with the people and the street. So lots of cool colors here too with the green, brown, and pink buildings, so I really like that. So this next shot was at the top of a hike in Trento, Italy, and I just thought it was so classic. You have this Italian guy sitting up there taking in the view, and he has his cigarettes, his beer, and he's just soaking it in, you know? Like, that is just so Italian, and you gotta capture those moments. All right, that's enough of Italy. Now I want to jump to France, where I did a bit of the Tour de Mont Blanc with my parents. The views and hiking out there are just unbelievable. It was cloudy and rainy for a lot of our hike, but there were moments of just gorgeous views. So one specific shot that stands out to me is this one, which is taken at a col, essentially a pass in the mountains, which is on the border of France and Italy. And I really just like how the framing of the flags lines up with the yellow, and then you kind of have this mysterious background with these clouds coming in and out. So it's not super sharp and clear, but it has some mystery to it, and I really like that, especially with the blue sky up above and the Rocky Mountains. So pretty sweet. And of course, you have to get your little mid-hike cappuccinos at the huts along the way. This is one of the huts that we stayed at. I like this shot. I like how the flags are all lined up in the wind, but the lighting could have been a bit better if there was some sun on it, and I'm not the hugest fan of it, but still a pretty cool shot. On our last day hiking the Tour de Mont Blanc, the sun finally came out and it all cleared and we could see everything, and I captured this shot, which was just spectacular to see Mont Blanc in its glory. I'm not really sure what happened with the shot. I know I laid on the ground to try and get this perspective with the grass, but somehow I messed up the framing and the peak is not centered and it really bothers me. It might have something to do with the fact that the camera's rangefinder doesn't adjust with parallax, but it's probably just the fact that I was laying on the ground trying to compose this rapid fire in the middle of a hike, and yeah, it just bothers me. But besides that, the shot's incredible, the resolution's great. This mountain and the glaciers around it are spectacular, so it was pretty cool. So I actually messed up the framing of Mont Blanc twice with this shot right here, which I think I like more than the other one actually, just because the green field going up into it is just so gorgeous. But again, just off center to the right. So I don't know what was going on here, just a little bit off. Now I'm gonna jump to one of my favorite places in the world, which is Switzerland, and I gotta start with a cow shot just because the Swiss cows are an absolutely iconic thing. The green grass is so gorgeous in this. The composition with the cows, I mean, I really couldn't get them to act how I wanted them to, but they framed themselves pretty well with this center one and then one off to the right and left. And yeah, just cool with all these mysterious glaciers in the background. Pretty sweet. This shot of this little Swiss hotel is so cute. I just love how it has so much color and texture, but it really bothers me again that the framing is off. I cut off the right side of the building here and I don't love that. And I think that's probably just because of the frames and the rangefinder aren't super accurate. So when you try and frame something specifically like that, it can get cut off. This next shot is really just the epitome of Switzerland. I mean, look at this. We have a rainbow, we have mountains, glaciers, snow, cute buildings, and a beer. So, I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, does it? One of my favorite things about Europe is the public transportation, and with Switzerland in particular, the mountain transportation is just really cool. So this shot I fired off outside of the window in a train going up a mountain, and I managed to capture the entire valley, a waterfall, and the train going around a curve. So I'd been envisioning the shot before I even left for this trip, and I really wanted to get it, and I think it was on our last day that I finally managed to capture this, so I was pretty stoked on it. And here's just another classic Swiss shot. It snowed the night before, so there was a dustiness of snow on the high mountains, and the contrast of new snow with green grass and flowers just really appealed to me. So I really liked how this shot came out, and it's also just pretty symmetrical, like a third of green, a third of mountains, and then sky above. So pretty neat, especially with the little bit of sun hitting this mountain here. So after traveling around the Alps in Europe, I headed off to Eastern Europe, and the first place I went to was Budapest. And when I arrived in the evening off the train station was pretty gorgeous, and this is the shot that I captured. In my head, I thought it looked a little bit better. I just really liked how the light was hitting the walls here, and with all the flags and the symmetry. This shot definitely came out better in my head with the people around, but it's still a pretty cool photo, and I just like the scale of the image, and it feels really large. This next photo is from Prague, and I really just like the old trolleys they have, and it looks really cool crossing the river, all retro and colorful, and you got cool buildings in the background, and it just kind of epitomizes Eastern Europe, I feel like, and so I'm a big fan of it. The next photo is also from Prague, and just a quick backstory. Basically, I walked from my hostel for an evening walk up to this beer garden that looked over the city, and it was pretty cool. It was just an incredible sight. The beer gardens in Europe are unmatched, and especially with the sun coming in, I managed to capture this shot. And yeah, it's just Europe in a nutshell. Like, you got the chestnut trees, you got the light coming in, you have the beer garden, and in the background it honestly just looks fake because you have all of these ancient buildings with incredible architecture, and yeah, I mean, that's Europe in a nutshell for you. What else can I say? Obviously, those were just a couple of the film photos I took on my trip to Europe, but I have to say, overall, really happy with my decision to bring my film camera. I feel like it just let me be so much more free with my creativity. I just feel like a few of these moments would have felt a little bit less genuine on my digital camera, not to mention more intrusive because of its size. So having a really small rangefinder film camera was pretty awesome. But I guess that's it for today. I don't know, I don't really make YouTube videos anymore, but thanks for coming to my show and tell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.